Good morning and welcome to Behind the Screen. I am Jam, and this is a show where we hang out and we talk about games, primarily role-playing games. And today, primarily super role-playing games. We're continuing our look at the Supermarches campaign-setting idea of New Helios City. The idea is, why don't we apply the West Marches style of gaming, where people can kind of come and go as they please. The players lead the groups and the story and the narrative and apply it to superhero gaming, the city of New Helios City. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. But before we get into that, good morning to Ross and Padre and Tink and myself and Cripwright and John Doom. John Doom slowly matriculating west. And then in about 2 weeks, we'll slowly matriculate east again. So hopefully I will get to see John Doom and DM James at Gamehole Con. And I think I'm playing in a Cripwright game at Gamehole Con, which I am excited about. I heard he was spreading seeds, Cripwright, but I did not hear they were apple seeds. So that's good to know. Thank you, Tink. Yes, my birthday was yesterday. Thanks, Padre. Padre, your starter set is going in the mail tomorrow. We got one more prompt this week, and then Palladium Books is sponsoring our Other World Than These prize for these last 2 weeks, which I am very thankful for. Thank you, Kevin. I'm looking forward to sending you that information on who wins. Thanks, everybody. That's right. We are playing in Pharaoh Mist at Gamehole Con. I'm looking forward to this. So if you are at all interested in this idea of New Helios City, we're trying once a week to just scope out a little bit of the city, chip away at it, and it is very active on the Iconic Discord channel, thanks to Zeddy, who I believe is Ross. You can tell me if I'm correct or not, Ross, for all of the stuff that you are putting into the setting. I can't wait to spend, November, December gathering it all together and putting it into like a formal document. Yeah, all right, awesome, Ross. Thank you. I thought that was the case. Yes, we need Ross and I need help. So today we're talking about the last of the factions. Now we've established the superhero factions. Superhero factions are really like a street level superhero team, loosely based off of something like the Defenders, the Justice Society of America in the older version of that comic. We've got Knights Inc., which is our city-sponsored superhero team. They're on the payroll of the mayoral office with all the benefits and restrictions that may come with. And then we have the Olympians. The Olympians are the corporate-sponsored superhero team, possibly even created by the corporation, the Kronos Corporation. So then we had our villainous organizations, which we walked through. We had a ton of great ideas for gangs and cartels and a vampiric cult and a doomsday cult and a pusher cult. Lots of cults going on in New Helios City. Sort of our evil, shadowy government organization. And then kind of a viral collective a la the Hive, which was very cool. So today we're rounding out our factions, and there needs to be some factions that are these. When I say neutral factions, I don't mean that they're neutral in the fact that they will never do anything good or evil. I mean that from the meta-human perspective, in general, they're going to be neutral in the fact that they are neither heroic organizations or villainous organizations. They are, they're corporations. They're government agencies. They are journalistic outlets, which allow the players to have other people who may sponsor them, may send them alerts, these organizations may be attacked and need to be defended by the heroes, but it adds a layer of complexity to the setting. That's something that I really enjoy. Like my goal with my goal whenever I'm designing a setting or using a setting is I want to get as much prep as I can get done beforehand. And that prep allows me to understand the rules of the world and the players therein. So that when I'm at the table, I know this setting so well, I don't have to stop and reference a document or try and figure out, like, abductively what would be most likely here. That I know the setting so well inside and out that I'm ready to just run with it. So Cryptwright gave us one, a organization developed by an AI that decided a very specific group needed to be made to take care of the problem in the world. And it's an odd group seemingly, but the AI insists, I like that. So maybe some sort, I won't use Cassandra, because even though that fits in with our theming of the city, it is a very Doomguard, idea. And I kind of like the idea. I'm putting in all of my references. I kind of like the idea, Cryptwright, of this AI has assembled something that's essentially like the Doom Patrol. Something so offbeat and off kilter that everyone assumes these are the worst people for this. Yet the AI is 100% on board. That's true. I won't stand up. You guys never know what I'm GM up top. Anyway, I also want something independent of the Kronos Corporation, but something a little bit like Cadmus, the ISSO labs in Doomguard, Star Labs, AIM, right? This idea that if we this scientific research division, maybe of the US or the UN, that's set up in New Helios City and is running some sort of advanced genetics or scientific lab underground. I love Jack Kirby's use of Cadmus in the New Gods, the Forever People, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. I like the use of Cadmus back in the 90s when it was a major part of like the Superman Metropolis storyline, where you had like the Guardian and Duplex and all of those things. So we need some sort of scientific research lab where both the heroes can come and get research done, get support, but also, you know, every so often a kaiju or super virus or, you know, genetically engineered monstrosity, super soldier, breaks free and wreaks havoc on the city. So the idea is that while this organization is neither good nor evil, the heroes will interact on it in a very helpful way, but sometimes their experiments go awry and the heroes have to step in to kind of put it down. I like the name Oda. Are you thinking Oda, Ross, for the AI or the scientific research lab? Now, speaking of government oversight, I think, yeah, like a 0 point energy lab. Oh, I like that, John Doom. Let me write that one down too. All right, 0 point energy lab. All right, we're gonna call that Oda. Awesome. Thanks, Ross. Thanks, John Doom. Oh, subatomic is great as well. All right, so here's the thing. Anytime you have a city that proves to be a magnet for trouble, there are always government organizations that get involved. And there in the Avengers, we had like Henry Gyrick, who kind of oversaw the Avengers when they were, being sponsored by the UN. In DC, we have, the DEO. We have agencies that basically keep track on supers and metahumans, and very often don't like the idea of these people running around sort of unchecked with the power of armies. The Defense Emergency Research Program, the DERP. I'm writing that down, Padre. Emergency Research Program. I feel like if we go with that as the name for this agency, those people are always going to be just pissed off all the time that somehow their acronym ended up spelling DERP. Maybe it was founded like post World War II and has been around for so long, and it's really the fact that that term has changed or come to mean something, so their acronym didn't actually mean anything at first. Sort of like I don't know if you guys know this, but originally Riffs was called Boomers because the Glitter Boys were going to be the foundational cornerstone of the world. And I'm like, well, one, it's good that you didn't go that route because, Boomers now has a completely different idea. But you should make a T-shirt that has a glitter boy on it that says, "Okay, Boomer," and I think that would sell like hotcakes. And you could put some syrup on top of that, so that people can see what I'm talking about. Syrup. All right, so we've got a scientific team. We have sort of a shadowy government organization, and I'd like to get one more. We have our AI team. So the AI oversight that would be interesting, what if the AI is essentially, was originally part of the mayoral office and has kind of now created its own branch of the government, slowly siphoning off, like was it Superman 3, the rounding errors and all bank transactions? It's slowly siphoning these off. So the AI has become kind of its own shadowy branch of the government. But we need one more. We need one more really solid neutral faction. And as we ponder that, let me go back to the chat because you guys are... the reason the acronym now has meaning is because they keep listening to research. That's... Okay, yeah, so like... maybe there has to be the DERP event separate from the incident. Something that was so catastrophically bad, like Bay of Pigs bad, that DERP then entered into the collective terminology, probably through the internet as part of a conspiracy theory meme, that then went viral, and that is now why DERP is called DERP. Give me some time, and I'll come up with deep search or deep something as an acronym. It's fantastic. So Ross put a lot of time in talking about the journalistic side of things. And that's something I want to talk about here as well. Right, there's obviously going to be some sort of like local news, probably some sort of media conglomerate where it's news and newspaper and, web article kind of place for the local city. But then he brought up the idea of all of these like different blogs and podcasters that also live in the city. Some of them follow super crimes, some of them follow the superhero teams, and each one has their own take, but they're trying to spin their fan base. And I like the idea of this because what we would also see is eventually, because of the way social media works, these podcasters would get more and more inflammatory to drive more and more clicks, to drive more and more traffic and money to their sites. But we'll slowly see this influence kind of really starting to agitate friction in the city. We do have a super team like that, Padre. All right. I like that idea too. So we've got our journalism, but yes, so something like the Green Lantern Corps, or we'll call them. All right, I'm going to pull this from something Ben and I have been working on. We'll call it like maybe the mantle have showed up. So this idea that there are people who get recruited into this cosmic order of order. And they're much more concerned with keeping the peace and keeping the status quo than necessarily the right or the wrong of it. You know, making sure planets don't get bootstrapped, animals don't get uplifted, things don't get trafficked, for good or ill. Keep them like firmly on the side of order and not so much on the side of good. And I think that works out with our definitions of what we're trying to have. Yes, a Heroes for Hire board. Oh, man. And you know, as soon as Heroes for Hire comes out, there will also be a flip side where villains start to pool their resources to get information on people. The neutral faction remind me of Futurama's The Neutrals. Or, oh man, what was his name in Venture Brothers? The guy who was essentially like their watcher, but he would just show up and scream, "Ignore me!" Really, really liked that. I have no strong feelings about this one way or another. Yes, ignore me, John Doom. Exactly. All right, I feel like we have a good, solid grasp of our neutral factions. We'll get those written up. And again, by January, the goal is to have the setting document out in the hands of the iconic patrons and the people on the who support us here on YouTube and Twitch, so that you guys can go out and play New Helios City and then tell me about it, because I would love to hear about it. And then I'm going to start running New Helios City in January for my Ascendant game, which I am super excited about. Hopefully, when I get back from Gamehole Con, I'll be able to record some of these videos explaining how Ascendant works in kind of like digestible 2 to 5 minute chunks, and like with graphic overlays and music. I'm trying something new on the channel, so we'll see how that goes. But that's it for today. We'll be back next week on Tuesday, and that'll be for the next 2 weeks. We will only stream on Tuesday because Thursday my TPK game starts, and then the following week I will be hanging out with Val and Matthias and Tink and John Doom in Madison. So until then, stay healthy, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I am JM. This has been Behind the Screen, and I will see you all later. Until then, have a good one, everybody.